and then she had another kid, grabbed her arm, put it in a lock behind her back, and told her he was going to murder her.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I brought her in here for a private lesson, and so I was with Aaron Serta, and he reinforced, it's like, no, you need to protect yourself. That's the whole reason you come here, and helped her out.
Hello, welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle. I am James Cox, and we're on episode number 56 today. So I'm going to have a very interesting interview with a guest. This is Miss Vanessa, and what it's about is that very different perspectives of martial arts, and like we do here, the way of the martial arts through various journeys. So she's going to have some stories on martial arts as a student herself, martial arts as a parent with her child, and the martial arts as an employee, a manager of martial arts schools here in good old Abilene, Texas. So let's kind of start off with some of that. Vanessa, as a student, when did you actually start martial arts? How old were you?
I believe I was 36.
36. That's young, by the way. That's very young. And 36 gets younger the older you get, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's the new 26. But, to a lot of people, I hear it. You've heard it before. That's too old to start, is their thought, right? So you didn't start martial arts until you were 36. You're working to hopefully get your black belt this year, right?
Yes, sir.
So you've been working hard on that for right over 3 years so far now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as a student, why did you start?
Main thing was self-defense. That was the main driving force. I'd always wanted to get into karate and martial arts since I was a kid. Grew up brothers, watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
And but biggest thing was self-defense.
Yeah. Man, so much of the movies, the Hollywood, the things that go on bring people to martial arts. So it's always good when we can have some of that. But so the self-defense, and why did you feel a need for self-defense, and why then?
Well, I learned firsthand there's lots of good people out in the world. There's lots of not so good people out there, and lots of people I just consider to be flat out evil.
Yeah.
And had some bad situations. A really bad one that left me with a bad head injury. The kid was involved. I felt like a failure as a parent, especially being in that situation. Didn't want it to ever happen again. And I came in here to get my kid in first, and then I got hooked myself because, like I said, it's something I always wanted to do. Yeah.
So you were able to kind of follow that interest that you had early on, a bucket list, something I'd always wanted to do, and you did it. But unfortunately, you also had a bad situation, an assault situation where the need definitely increased, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
I'm sorry you went through that, but it's luckily that you survived and know that you found some solution. Just because you never know, because these types of people that exist in the world, and it's like having insurance to me. You might have life insurance. It doesn't mean you want to use it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to use your automobile insurance, but it's there just in case. And martial arts is a little bit of that extra insurance. So. Anyway, you had the need for self-defense for yourself and something that you wanted to do. And what did you expect? So kind of thinking back there, when you joined martial arts, and then what did you realize it was more about? Because people have expectations. They're going to join karate and this and that's going to happen. And then maybe it did, or maybe it was totally different than what your expectations were when you realized what we were doing.
Yeah, I really didn't have any idea what I was getting myself into. I mean, I'd taken kids that I'd nannied, and I'd taken family members' kids to different karate schools all over the place. And there it was, honestly, it was quite boring, but I still felt the need for it, where it just punch, good, throw a kick. And there wasn't a whole lot of heart and soul into it. Then we walked through these doors here, and it was just a whole different feeling. I mean, the attention to detail, everybody here really put themselves into it, and you could just see it was their total passion, it was their total life. And as soon as we did that first lesson, it's like I have to get my kid in here. This is what we need. I have to do it.
I'm glad you guys did it. Yeah,
me too.
I'm glad you came in on a good day where classes were rocking, but hopefully they're always like that.
When we came in, there wasn't any classes. It was during COVID. There was a special on Facebook. Came in, met with Aaron. He did the lesson back. Or no, it was out on the mat here, but just the way it was. I mean, it just had a whole different feeling. A lot of other places I'd been, the parents don't get to watch. I mean, except for maybe in another room. It just felt cold. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It didn't feel, and I mean, it's a business. I get that. You're there to learn the punching and the kicking, but if someone's passion isn't into it, then, I mean, is that where you really want to learn from?
Yeah, right. There's a sincere feeling when you can tell. I mean, my instructor, Patrick McDaniel, calls it what comes from the heart touches the heart. So there's this connection when you can feel that sincerity, right? That,
Yes,
man,
sir.
we're going to learn martial arts. Well, I'm glad you found a good place to stay. So how has this helped you as a martial arts student and this, journey that you've been through thus far?
I mean, honestly, when I came through the door, my goal was, like I said, getting my kid into it. It's something I'd always wanted to do. But what I didn't expect is getting into it. It's like I hadn't realized I'd just been in survivor mode for years and years and years and years. And this helped me get my confidence back. It helped me find that flame of myself deep inside again, to where I felt I made friends, which I really hadn't had in a long time. I could laugh again. And I really just felt myself for the first time in a long, long time. And then feeling that confidence again. I mean, I'd been in quite a few scraps when I was younger. I grew up not so well. And I always thought I could take care of myself. And then, like I said, after all that, my confidence tanked. And coming here and getting to practice with people and say, like, okay, bad things happen, but overcoming that, kind of facing your fears and rising above, and just keep trying. Even if you do get knocked down, if you do get those losses, you overcome them and just keep going.
Why are those things important, for life, for you, and how has it benefited you? You know what I mean? Just why?
Why? Because quality of life. I mean, who wants to live their life in fear? It's not a good place to be. I mean, depression follows that, and it's not good. And I mean, I know when I started here, I got that confidence up. And then, you face your ups and downs. One of those times sparring with a higher belt, I got knocked in the head, and I realized I get flashbacks from that. And so you helped me. I came in for some private lessons, and kind of conquering that over and over and over again. It teaches your brain, it teaches your soul. It's just, you just don't give up. You just keep going no matter what's in your way. Keep the end goal in mind and go for it.
Rule number one, never give up. That's some overall perspective and, the vision on yourself as a martial arts student. So let's switch gears and the perspective of a parent. So your child, Miss Katie, is in the class, and she, you guys are the same rank?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, same rank. That's awesome, man. That's great. And so how is it, she started at what age?
She was 7.
Yeah, 7. How old is she now?
She's 10.
10, yeah. So she's always, again, about the same time, just over 3 years in.
Yeah.
And what have you learned as a parent, And I see things you do, and you hustle. I mean, you work a lot harder, and you make a lot less excuses than I see a lot of people. This is a pretty tough, bad girl right here. She does a lot of things, wears a lot of hats. Very independent and strong, and a single mom, challenges there, right?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard people tell me they can't get their kid in classes because they're a single mom, and it's just too hard. What are the challenges as a parent being a single mom to start with?
Well, to start with, I mean, there's always the attitude of the kids themselves. Like, I've loved seeing that passion for it in her, because we tried gymnastics before and we tried dance before, and I don't want to teach her to quit, but at the same time, I don't want to throw money into something where she's not gaining anything from it. But that's not what I saw here. And again, this is not just a hobby. It's something that could protect her and save her. So I was really happy that she took to it the way she did. But it's something I see with her, and with every kid, I think, has those days where they don't want to go to class. It's like they'd rather watch TV, they'd rather do something else. And I think it's my job as a parent to instill that of, okay, even if it feels tough right now, even if, she had a bad sparring day and she's scared, it's like, you still got to get your butt up on the mat and take care of it. I mean, it's something I've told her, is even if this isn't your favorite thing right at this moment, it's important, and it's something you need to do and something you need to learn, and you don't give up on stuff like that.
You have to just keep reminding her, but you're pushing and motivating because you see that deeper purpose and reason and why and the benefits and the value.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll admit there are some days where I might question myself, as if she's really fighting it. It's like, well, is this the right thing to do if she's really not feeling that? But then I think, if this kid had her choice, she'd be eating ice cream for dinner. Mm-hmm. And that's just because that's what she wants doesn't make it okay. And that's where, you got to step up to the role of parent and not friend.
Yeah.
And teach what's important.
Yeah, a parental decision where you know what's best.
Yes.
You have that wisdom and you're in that position where, that's cool that you want to do that, but nope, we're going to do this because I said, because trust me,
Yes.
things like that, right?
And teaching priorities. It's like, I don't ever want something on a screen to be a priority in my kid's life.
Yeah.
That's not what's important. And, I see how kids get, and it's like, it's addictive. They cannot get off that screen. And that's something I flat out don't want. And I've had, even family members tell me, well, you're kind of shorting your kid by not letting her do more, by not letting her play on video games and all that, because we don't have a video game system at home. It's like, we live out in the country. It's like, you want something to do, go outside, go play in the mud, go chase your chickens. I'd rather her do that, because she's got the rest of her life to kind of catch up on technology, because that's stuff that's learned pretty quick. And even as it is, it's like, anything happens on my phone, it's like, I don't know what to do, come fix it for me. And she's able to hook things up and do things that I'm ready to just chuck the phone out the window for. So,
Yeah, it is an addiction. So it's about the balance.
Exactly.
The yin and yang that we use in the martial arts. You don't want too much of this, too much of that. You got to find an equal balance, because too much of anything can be bad, for sure. So you had some situations where your child was being bullied. You had some situation where she had to actually use martial arts in many different ways. I know that we had talked some about that. So these are the reasons why somebody should get their child into martial arts. And you're not saying it because you read about it. You're saying it because you've been there. Your own child was bullied. Your own child had situations where they had to use martial arts.
Yeah, so I'd say it was all within probably the first 6 months of us being here. The first thing, she had a pit bull attack and go for her face, and she was able to use her block to keep the dog from getting her face. It still got her arm, and she was injured and her uniform ripped up because she just gotten out of class. But I mean, it could have been so much worse if it had been her face. But so she was able to protect herself that way, and that was something I would have never imagined martial arts could have done, is a dog lunging for your face. What are you gonna do, And then aside from that, she was in a classroom where there was a kid who had a lot of problems. And he was having one of his meltdowns. It seemed like
At school,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, at school, it seemed like every week they had to evacuate that class because of this kid just, throwing furniture, just going completely nuts over stuff. And he picked up, I saw it before. It was about this big, one of those hourglass things with the sand that go through. And she came out of school that day. She's like, Mom, I ducked and weave and it didn't hit me. It's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I used my duck and my weave and it didn't hit me. And that kid had chucked the hourglass and it shattered right where her head had been against the locker next to her. And so, of course, I was very grateful she knew how to evade that and didn't get hurt, because that in itself, I mean, it was pretty heavy duty. It was glass that could have hurt her. I was glad for that. And then she had another kid at another martial arts school here in town that grabbed her arm, put it in a lock behind her back, and told her he was going to murder her.
Whoa.
And yeah, this was weeks after she had bruises, and I just assumed they were from sparring or, kids being kids. They, fall and do things. But turns out a lot of those bruises were from this kid hitting and kicking her during school, and the teacher knew and didn't do anything. Teacher, in fact, threatened her that if she did anything back, she'd get in trouble. And they didn't want her telling me and getting me upset because I worked there. And I found out about it, and I did. I told the teacher, and I got reprimanded for that, and I didn't care. My kid has a right to stay safe and not be hurt. And she was still scared and nervous about doing anything because of the threats she got from the teachers. So I brought her in here for a private lesson, and so I was with Aaron Serta, and he reinforced, it's like, no, you need to protect yourself. That's the whole reason you come here, and helped her out. And I hadn't heard anything about her, about the bully in her for a little while. So I asked her, it's like, kid, what happened with that? She's like, don't worry, Mom, I took care of it. And so it's like, okay, that's all I need to know.
The kid's still there, though, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
How did you take care of it? I'm just kidding.
I did want to know, and I've always been curious, but at the other side, it's like that's all she seemed to want to say, and it's like, okay, I'll let her keep her.
So you saw her go from a stressed out situation to some peace of mind.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I got this. It's all good now.
I had noticed, she was very emotional and she'd been crying a lot, and I just kind of had assumed maybe it's just growing stuff. I didn't know, I'd asked her, are you okay? She said, yeah, but she was crying a lot. And so when that came out, it kind of, this is what's happening. And you feel those feelings of anger and all that, but it's not like a parent could go beat the crap out of some little kid. And it's sad that so many schools it seems like they're protective over bullies. And I think that's one reason why bullying has gone so far out of control. It seems like almost every day I hear of some kid getting bullied at school, or you read on the news about how, a kid commits suicide because they were bullied so bad. And I'm glad she had this training and that she was able to take care of it herself and keep her confidence.
Good. That whole no tolerance thing, I mean, we could debate on it, and I get that there has to be a point where it's this or that, and for the school system, especially public school system with so many kids, what are they going to do? Investigate every little situation, and then they have to choose who gets in trouble and who doesn't. You punch first, so does that mean you get in trouble? But then just approving it and then just dealing with legalities and things. Yes. So it's like if there's something that happens, you're both equally in trouble. But what you don't want to do is have a child so scared to get in trouble. They know they're going to go to suspension or whatever, have these consequences, and they just literally sit there and let someone beat the heck out of them, or worse. Yeah. Kids take martial arts, kids study YouTube, kids watch UFC fights, right?
Yes.
So it's been out there where a child, especially teenagers, there's some strong teenagers, they're like grown people, pick somebody up and throw them on their head, and this person, there's been fatalities, bad situations, because the kid was so scared that they can't fight because they're going to get in trouble, Now, of course, obviously, man, first, number one, that we want to teach that they need to be good at reporting, communicating with the authorities, the teachers, principals, and documenting things, and then just get enough distance and have enough confidence that there's not a need to prove yourself. Just kind of stay away. But then when and if, man, you got to defend yourself. You got to defend yourself. What else are you going to be? A punching bag?
Yeah.
For someone,
Yeah.
So, that's a whole tough thing, man. I get uptight about it all too, So your daughter, and as a parent, those are some good successes. Those are some good challenges. What are some of the other, I guess, benefits and value that you've seen? Because you're talking from proof, the evidence you have. You've witnessed it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the confidence, the change in character as a whole has been totally different since coming here. And for the first probably half of her life, I did ranch work, and we were out in rural areas where she really wouldn't get to see people. I mean, the last ranch I worked at before moving to Texas, she did have a little friend, and she did get to see that way, but she didn't get to develop those social skills so much. And then at school is so much different than it was when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. The kids aren't allowed to talk before school or play before school. They've got to sit quietly. During lunch, they got to sit quietly and they don't talk. After school, they've got to hurry and get out, and there's no playing on the playground after. So they really don't get a whole lot of time to socialize, which, is supposed to be one of the biggest reasons to send your kid to school. And so she didn't really learn how to make friends at school. It wasn't till she started coming here, and you've got activities here where you're working as a team, doing the different relays. They have chances to talk before class here, as long as they're not too disruptive. Mm-hmm. There's different activities here where she really learned to work with people, even just doing the drills back and forth between partners. It's like, okay, it's my turn, now it's your turn, my turn, your turn, because as an only child, she didn't really get that. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that's good. That's good. So as an only child, she was missing out on some of that interaction, and now she has a whole bunch of siblings.
Yes, right, she does.
And there's, everybody in her class, and the people that she comes to special events with, because I know she's really active in parents out parties and seminars and tournaments and just little different things here and there. So you get some problem solving, and you also get some leadership skills.
Yes.
You know, that's good. That's good overall perspectives as a parent. Let's move to this third thing you got going on, where you started as an office manager. You're just kind of manager now because you do program directing, instructing. You do maintenance. I remember there was a time, man, it was me, and I don't claim to be the most mechanically inclined, I guess you could say, right? And there was a couple of other big guys here, you know, macho men, right? I forgot. We had a couple of things happen at the same time. I think the toilet was overflowing, and we're trying to be plumbers, and something else was broken, and we're trying to figure it out. Like, we need to call somebody. And here Miss Vanessa runs out to her car, gets a bunch of tools, comes in here and fixes it like a pro. And we're just sitting there staring. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a jack of all trades, right? Well, hey, it works. So anything breaks down, I'm calling you.
Yeah,
All right?
I have no guarantees.
Yeah, easier than YouTubing it. But as an employee, so office managing, some program directing, we talked about some maintenance, jack of all trades. So when you started the first time, like, you know, hey, there was a job position and, you know, however it happened where then you were hired. You know, what did you expect was going to happen and you were going to be doing working for a martial arts school? And then what did you realize that you are doing? I mean, what were the changes there as far as expectation, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I figured it was just an office job, and you know, like I said, I don't think I could work in an office anywhere else. I've done it before and hated it, but I like this because it's helping people do something I'm passionate about and believe in, and so it's fun. And there's so many different aspects to even just the office part of working in a martial arts school. I mean, there's the different seminars, there's, you know, people calling that need help with different things, and that's what I do. I do like helping people, so I like that part of it. And then getting to kind of expand that and do help with the program directing stuff and the other stuff. I like that because I like staying busy and it keeps me hopping, doing something different. I'm on and off my feet, and I never know what the day's going to bring, and so that's my kind of day.
Yeah. So it's not boring, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's never really boring around here. Yeah, people that don't know if they could know like a daily operations of a busy martial arts school and what can happen on a day. We have, so many things going on at all times.
Oh, yes.
It is quite interesting. That's what you found, and what's the some overall best parts of your jobs?
Oh, I love, I love watching the kids, and I love hearing the success stories and helping with the program directing when those kids get their first white belt, just the beaming all over the face, and it's just awesome. And, looking over and, some of those parents, they're beaming and happy too, and that's awesome to see. Some of them, though, it's like they can't get off their phone even just for a second, and their kid is so proud of everything they've done, and that's kind of heartbreaking.
Aw.
But
Yeah.
but seeing when, just seeing that pride in those kids when they've realized they have done something, and a lot of times when they come in, it's something they don't always think that they can accomplish at first. And so it's fun showing them, hey, you can do a lot more than you think you can if you just try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. So kids can think something is such a big deal, and to them it is, and then if it's not acknowledged, like the parent or whoever, coach, instructor, like, yeah, that's nothing, you earned your white belt, congrats, right? But no, that's such a big thing. We do the thing where you do 2 introductory trial lessons, and then they actually go home, learn some things, practice, they come back, and then do a little mini evaluation test where we present the white belt as if we're almost presenting a black belt, maybe not quite that detailed, but when I started, the white belt came with the uniform in the package. Here you go, get on the mat. There's no presenting of a white belt, all right? That's the first belt. That's where everyone starts. But at least it's like, hey, we don't want to give you anything. We want you to earn it. We want you to deserve it, even this first belt. And maybe they come in thinking that there's a chance they're going to fail, right? So when they pass their test, when they earn their white belt, it's a big deal. And when you see some of the parents light up, but then on the other side, you see some that never even acknowledged it because they're in the middle of a text message.
I know. So honestly, that's one of the challenges too of the job. It can be the parents, the ones that don't seem to care. You got to be professional about that. There's the one side of you that wants to cuss them out and set them straight, but then you got to be professional about it. And it's like, well, how do you make them see that it's not just a hobby? They're investing in their kid, and it's like they don't even care about that.
And most people, I mean, not all, but I know most people that have kids have financial burden. Kids are expensive, right?
They
So
are.
choosing activities for them, whatever it may be, then it's up to you to help encourage and choose the ones that's going to have return on the investment,
Yes.
And martial arts, I don't see it as pricey because once again, I know the results. But so when you're dealing with people that, we just, we want to cut some expense, and you're having to try to resell the benefits.
Yeah, and it's also sad to me too, because a lot of times you see the same people with like those what they call Michael Kors purses or those super expensive phones, and it's like, once you see what it is, it's like it's a priority for me. It's a priority. It's like there have been times we've scrapped down and made sacrifices just to make sure that we get the martial arts taken care of, because I know it's important. I know what it can do for my kid, and she is my priority, so this is a priority.
Yeah. Yeah, you can break it down. I mean, depending, I don't know, average $100 a month, $150 a month, depending on the program. I mean, that's $30 a week.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you do have to cut a few Starbucks, that six-pack of Bud Light, that extra purse or shoes or whatever it might be, to squeeze that in. And
Yeah, I mean, if the desire is there, you can do it. I don't know how many times I've, found whatever side gigs I can just to make ends meet, but all it takes is somebody, if you got the desire, you can get it done with anything, and that's no exception.
Yeah. Well, give us some overall, I mean, to the listeners, and we're talking to mostly martial artists, but there's non-martial artists. I guess some advice, some tips and pointers. So if you're talking about people that want to do martial arts, but that are not, why? Why aren't they started? Because they're going to be like you and they wanted to do it. No, you waited 36, 37 years, but you did it, right?
Yeah.
Took you a while, and then unfortunately you had a situation that happened that sparked that need. The interest almost became a need.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say to these people on beginning the martial arts journey? And then what do you say to people that are in martial arts on continuing it? I mean, our business survives by growth. We got to get new students, and retention, we got to keep them. But the students grow by stick-to-itness,
Yes.
I mean, dude, what are you going to learn in 3 months? Yeah, okay, you learned a few things, but even after black belt, to continue in something, coming twice a week, 3 times a week, how do we do that? So what's your advice on these non-martial artists joining and these martial arts sticking to it?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind with the sticking to it is you got to think back on why you began martial arts to begin. I mean, why you started to begin with. A lot of them that quit at black belt seem to have quit because it's a status thing. Oh, I'm a black belt now, from what I've observed. I mean, I'm not there yet, so I don't know if I really.
But you've seen it.
Yeah,
we got our degree, we reached it, and we're out.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, well, yeah, it's great that it's a very awesome accomplishment. You've worked hard, you've earned it, but did you earn it for the right reasons? I mean, if you're just quitting just because you've got that title of black belt, why not keep continuing? Because you're going to learn more, you're going to be able to do more, and isn't that what life's about? Is that personal growth, becoming better in all ways? So
Yeah.
that's not something I understand personally. And for just starting out, it's like, yeah, this is something that if I had realized how important it was a long time ago, I'd have been in it sooner. I'd been in plenty of scraps earlier, and always been able to fend for myself. And so I guess I got a little arrogant, thinking I could take care of anything. And now after being in here, it's like, no. This is totally different than just some stupid scrap with somebody out there. There's so much more to it, and I don't even know how to put words to it. And it's something that you just got to at least step through the door, step on the mat, and give a try.
Yeah. Get out there and experience yourself. Test drive that car and feel how good it feels, right? Have fun. You see the results, and that's what makes you want to stay with it. Well, that's great, Vanessa. So I think there's some perspectives on martial arts as a student, as a parent, as an employee, and all those good things like that. So anything else?
That I can think
Very
of.
good. Well, thanks for doing this. It was kind of last minute, We were going to start the podcast off today about asking everyone to
The lucky
help
Bimbo.
us name these lovely
plants we have. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can see it. If you're on the audio podcast, just trust me. We have two little outstanding vases with rocks and stuff, however you make plants. And these are bamboo plants, right?
Yes, they're lucky bamboo.
Lucky bamboos.
Yes.
But we need names for them.
Apparently,
Is what
yes.
we're looking for. So comment below and give us some names of these plants that make sense. Good energy. All right. Thanks, guys. Follow the podcast. YouTube channel is James Cox Martial Arts. We'll see you soon.